Hello and welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I passed the CompTIA A+ certification on my very first try with zero experience. I'm going to be taking you through my step-by-step study guide, some helpful resources that I used, and also some strategies that I used as well that helped me pass. Be sure to stick around for the entirety of this video because at the end I am going to share my personal experience of taking the exam. So the reason why I took the certification in the first place is because I'm enrolled at WGU. If you're not familiar, it's a fully accredited university that offers IT programs that allow you to earn degree credit while also earning industry recognized certifications simultaneously. So as you may already know, the A+ certification is done with 2 exams. So part 1 of the exam went towards my IT Foundations course, and then core 2 of the exam went toward IT applications. And I actually am going to just show this here on the screen, just like as a little social proof so you can see that I really did pass it on my first attempt. I am pretty proud of that. Okay, so let's get into the study plan that I followed. So to start off, the first thing that I used when I was studying for Core 1 is the CertMaster Learn. This is actually built by CompTIA themselves, and if you're enrolled in WGU, you do get this included in your study program. It's part of the course material that's offered. And so this is what I went through the whole entire thing from start to finish. I did really like it. If you do it this way, you are reading the material, and so you just want to make sure you're taking a lot of notes. I will say that doing it this style, it took me a lot longer studying for Core 1 than for Core 2. I studied for Core 1 for about 3 months because I hadn't yet discovered that there's just like a boatload of other materials and other resources online that you can use to study for this. If you're more of like a video style learner, I definitely have some things that I'm going to suggest to you as well. But CertMaster was really good for just reading it. I also like that they have labs on there and PBQs. The performance-based questions are also built into that. So I really did like CertMaster Learn. The next thing that I did after that, once I kind of realized, reading on Reddit and other materials and other forums online, was that I did realize that there's a guy who makes these YouTube videos. His name is Professor Meyers, and he has a whole series where he teaches the A+ certification material completely free on YouTube. So you don't have to pay for materials. You literally can watch his. I really liked it. For him, I would say it was similar to CertMaster, where it was very comprehensive, but it's through YouTube. So it's more like videos, watching, you're hearing the audio. So if you're more of like an auditory learner, then that's a really good one. And of course, like I said, it's completely free, which is always the best. But I do have to say, this next resource was actually my absolute favorite. Mike Meyers is my dude. I loved his. So the reason why I loved Mike Meyers, and you can find his series on Udemy, is because he actually showed you. He brought out hardware. He was showing it on camera. He was walking you through the ins and outs of motherboard. So if you were like me and had never actually built a system yourself, never built a computer from the ground up, he actually pulled out every single piece of the motherboard. He showed you how to put it together. There were actual just walkthroughs of all this. If you had never seen for instance what a BIOS is, as you're learning about it, you're understanding, okay, I know what a BIOS is, but I've never seen it in action. In Mike Meyers, his is more his is more demonstrative. So he's actually demonstrating how everything works, so you're seeing it firsthand. I personally am more of a hands-on learner, so this is when everything kind of clicked. This was the last resource that I used for learning. I really liked his video series, so I highly recommend getting his as well. And then the last resource that I'm going to recommend is going on Udemy and getting Jason Dion's practice tests. He has new ones for A+ for 2023. I found these to be actually super helpful. I I took them over and over again till the information just was like there in my head and it was all just starting to click. Okay, so those are all the resources that I used. And so one of the strategies that I had going into this test was just like literally one of my like main things that I'm going to recommend you do is literally just sit down and memorize. Like sit down, make your flashcards. Yes, it's a tedious process, but just do it. Like just memorize. So I'm going to list here all the things that I would recommend memorizing. Just like commit them to memory. There's quite a few. So sorry. That's kind of just the nature of this test. So here's the things that I would recommend memorizing for Core 1. And here's all the things that I would recommend memorizing for Core 2. Okay, so just to reiterate the resources that I recommend, it's going to be CertMaster Learn if you're a WGU student. Definitely just utilize that. Professor Meyers on YouTube, Mike Meyers on Udemy, and Jason Dion's practice test on Udemy. The fourth thing that I'm going to throw in here is to make sure you print out the objectives. The thing that I like about the objective though is that at the very end of the objective that CompTIA has, it has an acronym sheet of all the acronyms that you'll need to know for the exam. You don't need to memorize all of these, but just kind of skim through it and just make sure you're familiar. You can tell what everything is as it pops up on the exam. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you my personal experience of taking the exams. So I will say, before I enrolled in WGU, I had absolutely no idea what CompTIA even was. All this stuff was completely new to me. I mean, I have always been a person who can sit at a computer for hours and like sure technical things happen, but I always just leaned on like Google and YouTube to solve stuff, but I never dove into like why I was troubleshooting something the way that I was, or why the operating system, was giving me problems. I didn't know like why. And so, what this test does is it helps you to like answer those more in depth. Like it's going to teach you about, if your sound is making clicking sounding or buzzing sounding or humming sounding, or if it's overheated, like how to actually diagnose those things. And so you kind of you learn why. But I never really thought about any of this before. So this test was like super new to me. So I was like way intimidated going in. So for Core 1, I literally spent 3 months studying this. I probably spent like longer than I probably needed to. But to be honest, I am glad that I spent that much time, because when I passed, like it just gave me so much confidence to move on to the Core 2. But while I was studying for it, I will say I started taking the practice test from Jason Dion, and I was getting like 40% to start. And I was kind of like, ugh. I was feeling like, holy crap, this is going to take like a freaking miracle for me to get this, test passed. And so I was feeling pretty bad, but I kept going. I kept using different resources, and eventually that 40% turned into 60%. And then that 60% started to turn into 90%. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm going to just like go for this. And I went for it and I passed my first try, which was, awesome. It gave me so much confidence to move on to the next one. And so the next one I actually only studied for 3 weeks. But I will say that for me, the Core 2 was a lot easier for me, because Core 1, I feel like it was more about like hardware, like learning about the different cable types, just like hardware. And so it just wasn't, I don't know, it was exciting for me. But Core 2 was a lot more about software and getting inside the machine and working with command lines. And for me, that was more interesting. So I think I hustled through the material a lot faster. It also retained in memory a lot easier. So yeah, Core 2 was a little bit easier for me. So the day came to take like my tests, and my friends would tell me like, just chill, relax, you know what you know, like you got this. But like I didn't do any of that. I literally like crammed, like literally up until the minute I was supposed to take the test. And so yeah, I was nervous. Oh yes, I sat for the test, took the exam, and got to the end. You're answering all the survey questions, and when I tell you, like, my heart probably stopped when I saw congratulations on the screen. I was just kind of like in disbelief. I couldn't believe that I had passed. I was excited. I was happy. I think I ran away from the computer before I even like properly closed out with the proctor. I was just like freaking out. I ran downstairs. I was like telling my family that I passed. So it was like a really exciting thing. And it actually gave me this feeling of like, wow, I can like actually do this. I can actually like be in IT. I can work in cybersecurity. Like I can do hard things. So that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, definitely let me know in the comments below. So currently I'm studying for the CompTIA Security Plus. Hopefully I'll have some positive news about that one shortly. So definitely come back to check that one out. See you in the next video.